49er running back Roger Craig.
The word thriller is not often associated with an NFL quarterback. After all, in today's computerized age, it's the coach who calls the plays, with the quarterback expected to execute them in robot-like fashion. But that's not the case with San Francisco's Steve Young, the 49er who was a throwback to the pioneering days of football when quarterbacks designed plays in the dirt and were not afraid to get their uniforms messed up.
Steve Young is a fun-loving, free-spirited throwback to a time when a football team's toughest and most versatile player was often its quarterback.
Rathman in motion to the left, Henderson in the backfield. Young goes back to throw. He's got some room. He's going to try to dive for it. He gets there! Oh, what a...
Few NFL players possess Steve Young's skills. For example, in the last 2 years, no quarterback has been more accurate. And there are only a handful of running backs who are as dauntless, daring, and dangerous.
Rathman and Waters split in the backfield. Young to throw. Sets up. Tucks it in. Runs away to his left. Has some space. He's got lots of room. 35, 30. Stays in bounds. He's to the 20, 15. One man to get by. He's to the 5. Carries him into the end zone. Touchdown 49ers. Dragging Bailey all the way. Oh, what a play. What a play by Steve Young.
If he sees a linebacker, his first thought is to try to run over it. And quarterbacks just aren't supposed to do that. So I think he is kind of a throwback, kind of a let's just go out and play football, and he loves the game.
You know, I have to say he's the master of the broken play, because he can turn a play that looks like nothing into something. And at a time when everything is total chaos out there, he can pull it all together and make it look like it was designed to work that way. I think he's a throwback to the type of, he's more like a Dick Butkus type of quarterback.
It isn't often that a quarterback is compared to Dick Butkus. But as it happened, it was an outstanding Hall of Famer and legend of the game who heavily influenced Steve Young. That man was Roger Staubach, whose great individual heroics in the 1970s helped mold the quarterback who so much resembles him today.
I think Roger Staubach was the consummate hero for me. I watched him do some amazing things. I love the way he played. I mean, he was a great quarterback. He could get the ball out to all his great receivers, Drew Pearson, Tony Hill, but yet, you know, he could always make a big play himself. And I thought that, I always thought that that was the greatest thing in the whole world, that people could, you know, have to defend all those different things.
Unlike Staubach, Young's overall ability has often overshadowed his talent as a passer. Consider his senior year at the college named after his great-great-great-grandfather. In 1983, Steve Young hit on 306 of his 429 passes, setting a single-season NCAA record for completion percentage. But he gained more fame for athletic versatility with a clutch, game-winning touchdown catch in the Holiday Bowl. After brief stints with the USFL and the Tampa Bay Bucks, Young came to San Francisco, where he found it impossible to supplant superstar Joe Montana. It certainly wasn't for lack of effort.
Young, back to throw. In trouble, he's going to be sacked. No, gets away. He runs, gets away again, goes to the 40, gets away again. To the 35, comes back to the 30, to the 20, the 50, the 10. He dies. Touchdown, 49ers.
For some reason, I think because the Minnesota run was so crazy, and it just happened at just the right time, and it looked so bad. I mean, it looked so good and bad at the same time, that I think people, you know, myself, you know, I've kind of let that one be the one that people will most remember.
Actually, Young seemed destined to be remembered as a career second stringer, albeit a spectacular one. But in 1991, things changed. An injured Joe Montana showed his mortality. Steve Young finally got his chance. He led the NFL with one of the highest quarterback ratings ever. But when San Francisco failed to reach the playoffs for the first time in 9 years, the blame fell on Young. Critics contended that he was too eager to scramble, too wild and undisciplined to orchestrate an offense known for symphonic fluidity. The 49ers recognized the problem. In 1992, they fixed it.
I think we've played more to his abilities this year than we did in the past. I think last year we had a sense that we had a feel for Steve Young, but we really didn't know him as well as we thought until he was, in fact, the starter for us for a period of time. After we developed that feel, then we've been able to add to the reservoir of plays that best fit his abilities.
The throwback and the system have come together. That was never more apparent than in the game for sole possession of first place in the NFC West, when Steve Young used all his skills to engineer a last-second Joe Montana-like comeback.
So now it is 1st and goal at the 7. And Young looking to the end zone. Touchdown, 49ers! Brett Jones, a leaping catch. 49ers have tied the game. Extra point could wrap up a win in the final minute again.
Well, that's been the big challenge, is to try to rein myself in and sit right there and get to become that consummate orchestrator that I think Joe has really kind of proven that's great for this offense. It's those extra qualities that I have. And if it's a throwback that I can move around, if it's a throwback that, if need be, I could catch a pass, then great.
Stadium. Bob Martin and Larry Zimmer, the AFC Championship game. And once again, it's the Broncos and the Browns.
We're ready, baby. We're ready. A hell of a ball game today.
Okay, man, all the talking's over. It's now time to get the job done. Let's go every play as hard as we can go. Now, let's do it.
Big games rarely live up to expectations, but this television thriller for the AFC Championship simply overwhelmed me.
Third down, 13. Goes hard back, throws it into the blitz. It's juggled. It is intercepted. Elway drops the throw for the first time. Drills the pass. Fingertip catch. Touchdown. Ricky Nateel back in the end zone.
The Browns had waited impatiently for a year to exact revenge for last season's championship defeat. But in the first quarter, they were stunned by Freddie Gilbert's interception, victimized by Tony Lilly's forced fumble, and pushed around by the AFC's top-ranked offense.
In motion. 2nd down and 3 Broncos. The pitch, and here comes Lang over the 50, the 45, the 40, the 30. Lang at the 25, 20, 15, and pulled out of bounds. First and goal at the 2. And they give it to Sewell on the end around, coming left, and Steve Sewell will score.
The Broncos led 21-10 in the third quarter when Elway pulled off an escape Houdini never dreamed of.
Elway takes the snap and drops inside the 10, running up in the pocket, trying to get around some of the pressure. They throw the pass upfield. Jackson at the 25, breaks a tackle, gets out over the 30, the 35, gets a block from Sewell, and here he comes down the sideline. 40, 30, 20, 15, 10, 5, touchdown! Mark Jackson. Longest play for Denver in postseason history. An 80-yard touchdown pass.
Kozar directed one of the most heroic comebacks in playoff history, finally overcoming an 18-point deficit in the final period. With barely 5 minutes remaining, the pressure was now squarely on the shoulders of John Elway and the Bronco offense.
We stop for one time, we'll go ahead. Let's go now. Hold on that football, guys.
1 year earlier, Elway had marched Denver 98 yards through the Cleveland mud to shatter the Browns' Super Bowl dream. Now, from 75 yards out, the situation had come full circle.
Let's go, offense!
Come on, baby. Come on. Come on. Drive him out. Come on.
Red 98!
Come on.
Red 98!
On only 5 plays, it took the Bronco offense less than 2 minutes to produce another Sunday drive of destiny.
First down at the Cleveland 20. 4:12 to go. The snap, and Elway drops to the 30 and throws. It is caught, and Winders at the 15, trying to run right to the 10, keeps it balanced at the 10, at the 5, touchdown. Sammy Winder. 20-yard touchdown pass. Elway to Winder. The Broncos are back in front. King Bishop a big block, but a fine run by Winder as he kept his balance and got to the end zone. Broncos regain the lead with 4:01 to go.
Now it was Cleveland's turn, and the parallels to the Broncos' 98-yard drive at the same juncture of last year's AFC title game were obvious. The Browns were 75 yards away from the tying touchdown as Kozar and the Browns took the field for one final fateful drive.
And it's Denver 38, Cleveland 31 with 4:01 to go in the fourth quarter, and I have a feeling it isn't over. Championship finish. 38-31 Denver. 2nd and 5 at the 8 for the Browns with 1:12 to go. Kozar to Miner. Miner trying to slip left at the 5. He's at the goal line. Miner loses the ball. Denver recovers the fumble. Miner appeared to be getting close enough to the goal line when the ball was punched away. With it and brings it to the sideline as a trophy.
What began on the 2-yard line in Cleveland 1 year earlier ended on the same 2-yard line in Denver as the Broncos produced the most stunning finish in NFL playoff history. Fate had tantalized Browns running back Ernest Biner, number 44, who had clear sailing to the end zone until he ran into reserve cornerback Jeremiah Castile, number 28. In one daring move, Castile tackled the ball instead of Biner, producing a fumble that he then recovered. It was another mile-high miracle, and it earned a 2nd straight AFC championship and a return trip to the Super Bowl for the Denver Broncos. In an era in which repeat winners are so rare and continuing success so difficult to attain, the 1987 Denver Broncos overcame injuries, retirements, and a work stoppage to become only the 3rd AFC team to make back-to-back appearances in a Super Bowl. Unable to realize their goal of a world championship, dreams die hard in Denver, and their obsession for winning promises that against all odds, the Broncos will be contenders for many years to come.
The mother of all fighting games.
Saturday only on ESPN Classic. Brought to you locally by AT&T Broadband.
You're watching ESPN Classic.
What does it take to make a thrilling season? Is it games with miracle finishes? Is it exciting new players and dominant teams? Perhaps it's a weekly diet of long scores and crazy plays. Well, there was a season that featured all of these factors. That season was 1978, and it might have been the most thrilling season in NFL history.
While every season has its moments of brilliance, no NFL campaign shone as brightly from start to finish than 1978. It took off in style on opening day when rookie running back Earl Campbell scored the first of his 13 touchdowns that earned him the 1978 MVP award. By midseason, a Walter Payton in his prime was well on his way to the third of his 5 consecutive NFC rushing titles. And by year's end, Fran Tarkenton had thrown the last of his 342 career touchdown passes, a record that may never be broken. But what also made 1978 special was the spotlight often stolen from the stars by supporting characters like Tim Mazzetti, the Falcon place kicker, who began the season as a Philadelphia bartender, ultimately became a hero in Atlanta when his clutch performance proved to be the difference in the Falcons' first ever playoff victory. The unsung heroes of 1978 were, oddly enough, the NFL rulemakers, who allowed offensive linemen a new and rather liberal use of their arms and hands. The result was better protection for the quarterback and more passing than ever before. The NFL literally took wing, and among those who flew with it were Steve Largent, the AFC's leading receiver in 1978, and Charlie Joyner, the man Largent ultimately surpassed as the league's all-time reception record holder. This wide-open style of play was contagious. It was a frantic season, filled with flying footballs that bounced in many directions, producing a string of fantastic finishes that seemed to occur every week.
Atlanta has the ball at the 43-yard line. So the Falcons will have to go 57 yards for a score here, and they need a touchdown, not a field goal. Bartkowski with a snap, drops the throw. Clock is running now, down to 17, throws long. Everybody's down there. The Saints look like they're there. There's the ball to the air. Jackson catches it. Touchdown, Atlanta. Unbelievable. There are no penalty flags. The Atlanta Falcons have come from behind with 10 seconds to go in the ball game.
10 seconds left. Oakland trails 20-14. The crowd takes up a chant of defense. Robisky and Banaszak are the back. Slot right. Branch inside. Bradshaw, Stabler back. Here comes the rush. He sidesteps. Can he throw? He can. The ball flipped forward is loose. A wild scramble. 2 seconds on the clock. Casper grabbing the ball. It is rolled a fumble. Casper is recovered in the end zone. The Oakland Raiders have scored on the most zany, unbelievable, absolutely impossible dream of a play. Madden is on the field. He wants to know if it's real. They said yes. Get your big butt out of here. He does.
Under 30 seconds left in the game. From here on in, Pizarnik can just fall on the football, and there is nothing the Eagles can do. And Pizarnik fumbles the football. It's picked up by Herman Edwards. 15, 10, 5, touchdown Eagles. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. I do.
For the Philadelphia Eagles, the real miracle of 1978 was their inspiring rise from perennial loser to proud winner.
Well, guys, 12 years. 12 years have gone by since the Eagles have been a winner. We're going to come out winners today. You've worked like winners. You've played like winners. Sure, we won a couple we should have lost. But I'll tell you something else. We've lost a few we should have won. We're right where we ought to be, playing for the first winning season since 1966. Hey, God love all of you.
Hey, all right. Pizarnik on a slant in. Intercepted. Intercepted by Frank Lemaitre, who takes it down. And that could seal it up.
That was for you. That's for you.
While the Eagles became winners, it was the Dallas Cowboys and Pittsburgh Steelers who emerged as champions. Both dynasties were attempting to become the first team to win 3 Super Bowls. And with history at stake, this clash of titans proved to be a classic. The Steelers streaked away to a 14-point fourth-quarter lead before Roger Staubach, captain comeback himself, tried to make his magic work one more time. In a furious final quarter, Staubach led the Cowboys back in an effort that was reminiscent of his many heroic performances. But in the end, Terry Bradshaw's Steelers, perhaps the greatest team of all time, soared to victory.
And he's going to swat and score, makes a circus catch in the end zone. Unbelievable catch for the touchdown.
It was fitting that one of the finest Super Bowls ever played closed out the season of 1978, a glorious year that all of its participants can proudly look back on as the NFL's greatest season ever.
They're not always the best and the brightest, but they have something that can't be bought and can't be taught. They're the lion tamers and the high-wire artists of the circus that's professional football. And they always seem to find new ways to excite us. They're magic men. They create memorable moments. They're thrillers.